Hello, today is Friday in the fourth week of Lent, and we continue our Lenten journey from Ashes to Easter. And thank you for joining me today. You know, in 1936, Dale Carnegie wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence Enemies. And I was chuckling about that as I was reflecting on the gospel today, because, you know, I don't think that's a book that, at least the Gospel of John, the Jesus of John's Gospel, would really indicate. You know, Jesus is really kind of harsh with those who are supposed to be religious, who should be on his side, who should be working with him, but rather stand in opposition to him. You know, he really is kind of harsh on them. And unlike Matthew, Mark, and Luke, where Jesus seems to try and win them over, you know, like Dale Carnegie would suggest, not so much in John. But, you know, it's just because for John, Jesus being the very presence of God stands in contrast to all that is contrary to God, including within you and me and all creation. That's why the church pairs the gospel of today with that reading from the Book of Wisdom that says the just one is obnoxious to us, that somehow he points out our failures. Not because he points at us and says, no, it's because, you know, when I really am in the presence of God, when I really am in those moments of prayer, I always recognize the fact that, no, part of me is still not there yet. That there's a part of me that's contrary to that I haven't completely given over to the Lord, that I haven't grown through that to become something more. And that's okay. You know, that's when Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount talks about blessed are those who mourn. It's those who recognize that there are times that we are in contrast to his Son, that we are in contrast to the gospel, that somehow we don't live up to that. And while there's something to be said about not being very happy about that, it also is where we need the grace of God to touch our lives. You know, I remember years ago looking at the Grand Canyon and realizing that that place of such awesome beauty was created by the river flowing through that wore away the weakest parts and left the strongest. And I was really touched by that. And I thought, you know, Lord, please, let your grace flow through the weakest parts of me. Let your grace flow through the weakest part of our lives and wear them away, clean them out, cleanse them, renew us, and leave something of awesome beauty, like the Grand Canyon. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It's a place that I find the presence of God, even just thinking about that place. It's a reminder to me that, yeah, I have plenty of room for the Lord to work on me. There are lots of ways that I'm in need of renewal. But thanks be to God for the grace that flows through those weakest parts. And hopefully, the more I allow that to happen, the more the Lord will cleanse, renew, and make new. And then leave something of beauty to the glory of God. Today, let's open our lives and let the grace of God flow through us to become something better, something more like Christ. Have a blessed journey through Lent.